asked them twice to go sit down, and they are being defiant. So when the referral come to the front office, at least you will see proof. I will not talk about other people's personal business. You yelled out Pat, so that's talking about somebody else's business. Let's see. No, you cannot like a girl. Let's see what else he said. Oh, I will not be a class clown. Dang, why we not? You didn't sit down because you left.
Hello and happy Tuesday to all my beautiful family, friends, and frenemies too. Today I decided to come on and share my thoughts and perception regarding the educational field. If you're not into that type of information, then I recommend that you probably just, swipe on through, scroll on up. But I wanted to talk about the ins and outs of education, particularly Title I schools. And I know that and this is for like the new teachers coming in, or maybe people that are considering going into the teaching field. I know that they are very much in need of teachers, and they are willing to put people in programs. I'll just say an alternate route of becoming an educator if you have a degree in another field. So these are some things that I wish someone had, educated me on. And I searched through many educational videos on YouTube, and I haven't quite ran across any video that will cover some of the things that I am going to mention in this video. And I'm going to try my best to keep it short and sweet. And you may want to take notes. And here goes. Let's dive on in. So I pretty much started out in early childhood education. I put in many, many years in that role as a preschool, pre-K teacher. And I wanted to try something different. I know many people may wonder, especially I get a lot of questions, why you became a teacher? And that's just been something that I've been passionate about since I was a little girl. I can recall many days coming home from school, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, collecting all my stuffed animals, putting them all together, and creating my own in-home classroom. And gave out my homework and trying to get my stuffed animals to do my homework. So I was very, very fascinated with that. And also my grandmother, she used to be a Sunday school teacher, so I've pretty much shadowed her through her religious journey and took a lot of notes from her. So here I am today. I am a 4th grade science and social studies teacher. I really wasn't trying to go that route, but hey, I'm open to exploring and learning more. The information that I'm going to share in this video isn't about coming at education in a negative way, because teaching is a very beautiful, rewarding experience, and I put in a lot of time trying to work my way up the ladder, collected quite a few degrees, and I'm still working towards more degrees, just to keep my professional development on point. But here's what I kind of struggle with, and this is, keep in mind, not all schools are created equally. I work in a school that's Title I in the North Florida area, and the demographic is, I'll say, predominantly African American and Hispanic, sprinkled in with a few other races, but of course, the African American culture stand out more. So here's the thing that you should keep in mind. These are the things that I wish that I could have asked during my job interview. When you go into a job interview, you're so excited that they even consider to call you, because, there's a lot of competition out there. But when you really look into or do your research on teaching in the educational field, there's a major shortage, especially in the state of Florida. And I used to ask myself, well, what's the big deal? Because I really love it. I love the I mean, there's good points and bad points, but I always wonder, okay, well, what's going on? But teaching is not the way it used to be. Mm-mm. Nope. When I was in high school, I was very close to my teachers. I was like the little secretary. I used to help grade papers. I answered the calls, delivered messages. So I pretty much got the opportunity to learn early on the ins and outs of teaching. And when I compare it to education today, it is very different. And I think the advancement in technology is what changed a lot of things. The students are not as focused, very short attention span. You will find that a lot of the students come in eating Takis for breakfast or unhealthy foods, and then they're still expected to sit down and perform at the same rate as other students that may have a balanced breakfast. I work with students that have been retained once or twice, and a lot of times they come into the classroom unmotivated, or they are very disruptive, and they decide to either try to be like the bully or the leader, or they are trying to do things to get more students to follow them. And so that's where the challenge come in at, because at a Title I school, when there's money shortages, there's it also comes with a lot of behavior issues. And so because the school that I work for go up to middle school, there's like one deputy on site, and the deans or the APs, they're being pulled left and right, running to cover issues in kindergarten, running to cover issues in elementary area, and running to cover issues in middle school. And so that kind of puts you in a position to try to be creative, or you will be stuck with a lot of behavior issues. Referrals are just, to me, how I see it at this school, they are just, I see them as documentation that's sitting there, and it's so many being written within a week. It just seems like a lot of the behaviors get overlooked. I mean, I've had students come into my classroom, and I'm not going to say that it's my whole entire class. It's just these particular students, mainly the retainees. They come into the classroom and they're very aggressive. They think horse playing is normal and natural, and no matter how much I try to remind them of keeping their hands and feet to themselves, it's almost like an addiction. Like they have to, like one boy walked into my classroom and drop kicked another student, just ran up, jumped his whole body off the ground 2 feet, and just kicked the student down, and thought it was funny and didn't see a big deal about it. Yes, the student was hurt. Yes, I did write a referral, but nothing really was done. And this particular student pretty much gets suspended almost every 3 weeks. So, no behavior plan in place. He constantly reminds me that his parents don't care anyway. So when you run across quite a few students like that, you really gotta have thick, tough skin. There's another student, she's actually related to the principal, and she is the most disruptive one. She feels like I'm gonna get spoiled, I'm gonna have my way because I'm related to the principal. There was a time where I had her working in a group, and one of the students that she calls her best friend, I guess jumped up and got in her way when she was trying to do something or look at the board, and she just punched him in his private area. I mean, really hard, and the boy just started turning red and wanted to hit her, and I had to really get him to calm down, go outside, count to 10, inhale, exhale. I offered to send him to the clinic to get an ice pack, but of course he doesn't want to walk around with an ice pack in his private area. Of course it's going to make the front part of his pants wet, so he pretty much had to kind of sit through the pain until it subsided. But see, I wrote that referral, and she comes in the classroom like, okay, and then she threatened to do it again. So this, a lot of these students, I found out they live in a nearby project area. And so when you are working with students that come from that type of area, and I'm not trying to say that I have all the answers, but I was once a student that grew up in a low income project type area in Miami. And so I didn't really act out. I wasn't really a troublemaker. I was more quiet and observative, very timid. Um, I mean, of course, I did protect myself when I needed to, but one thing I wanted was peace. And I felt like the school that I attended, the teachers were very supportive with that. And they knew, okay, when Miss Brown, I'll just say Miss Brown had enough, oh, we need to give her some time, okay? Because, at a young age, I've seen some really crazy things in my life. I've seen the good, bad, and ugly. I've seen things that kids shouldn't see at a certain age. But, I managed to push through it. But a lot of these students don't have that same support. And, even though they get an attitude with me, and they get tired of hearing my lectures, I always let them know, look, I see you. I know, I feel your pain. I know what it's like not having a father in the picture. I know what it's like when your mom is so busy, she don't even have time to even sit down and help you do your homework. So I get it. I understand that. And I always try to preach and tell them that they need to really understand that this is pretty much a prerequisite of preparing them to be obedient workers for society. And if they cannot follow simple directions in school, they're going to have a hard time throughout the rest of their educational journey. And 9 out of 10, a lot of them may end up dropping out. And I already said in one video, however many kids end up staying back determines how many prison systems they need to build and get prepared for these particular students. I already have a few of them that's walking around with a misdemeanor. I mean, fourth graders. Here's another thing you need to keep in mind. Just because you signed up to be a teacher, no matter what grade level, just be potentially prepared to be flexible, because they don't put this in your job description. You may have to not only be a counselor, you may not only have to break up fights and risk your life. You may not only be a clerical receptionist person, but you may potentially have to step into a role that you did not sign up for. Like, I did not realize that I wasn't going to get a lunch break pretty much to myself. I did not realize that once the students went to lunch, I had to sit and eat lunch with them. And sometimes I had to work the register and sign them in as they walked through to get their lunch. I didn't know. A cafeteria worker was on my resume. I didn't know, but in this particular case, it is. And when you talk about extra pay, this is what they need you to do. This is what they consider collaboration. They also consider collaboration with you working extra hours that you did not expect to work. Just because you're a salaried worker, they feel like they can take advantage of that. So they will give you maybe teacher duty before school start to help assist with buses. Now, mind you, I believe in clocking in right when I need to clock in and clock out when I need to clock out. It was one particular case where my supervisor, I'll just say the principal, was upset because she wanted many people to stay at the school to rearrange and organize the student data and pictures. And a lot of them stayed until 9 p.m. at night. Who's going to cook my dinner? Who's going to look after my family at that time? I don't know. But nobody talked about, we're going to give you an incentive and let you leave early. Nobody talked about, I'm going to, give you a few dollars in your pay. Also, you might want to ask about their school culture, because I did not know this particular school celebrate a lot of American holidays. Now, there are other schools that I've worked for that respected diverse cultures and religious ideas, and they try to keep it flexible. So instead of talking about Secret Santa activities, they'll just say winter or the secret snowflake or something like that. So you can still participate and not just limit certain people to participate. And because I didn't participate, I can tell that my supervisor was in her feelings. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm still doing my job. I just don't feel like that should be considered as collaboration, because she said this activity, participating in and putting together a Christmas play and program, is a part of collaboration. But I feel like you can collaborate in many other ways. And I'm not going to sit there and continue to lie to my students about, you know, a big old white fat guy flying in the sky with some reindeers. I'm just not going to do that. And I like to look at things straightforward. I'm not going to try to use my Barney senses and try to imagine anything, because a lot of these kids already get disappointed enough. They get disappointed because of their background, because of their color and their race and their sex, and because they don't have a two-parent household, or because they are a foster child. They already get disappointed enough. So I'm not going to sit there and take a student through what I went through, because I mean, I lost a lot of sleep during the winter holidays when I was little, looking out the window trying to see if I'm gonna see, you know, this big big guy come out the sky and bring me my Christmas wish list. And then I'm being told, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't get everything, or he couldn't get everything for you because you know, I didn't act a certain way, or I didn't do enough in school. And they don't always set the students up for success. So that's just creating depression in a child every winter holiday. It's already bad enough that the sun is further away from the earth, and it creates seasonal depression for certain people. So now you add on to it by telling them about this false person. I pass. Also, you need to understand that I want to make sure I cover everything. You will be observed for your teaching style and how you present the lesson. Now, this is how I see it. I feel like everybody have a unique way of teaching, and you have to know your students to know how to present the lesson to them. Now, if you have about 5 behavior problems, most likely they're going to say you don't have classroom management, because these 5 particular kids that's supposed to receive some type of social emotional support or counseling, like since 2nd grade, and now they fell in your lap and they're in your classroom and now they're your responsibility, you may particularly be accused of not having classroom management. So with that being said, do not feel any type of way. Do not let that dictate who you are as a person, as a teacher. Do not let that take away your love and your passion for teaching just because one particular or 3 particular certain people come into your classroom and may catch your classroom kind of chaotic one day, and then maybe it's not like that every day, but they take that one day and they count that against you. Or maybe they didn't give you enough training. I know when I came in, I had no clue on what to do. I'm following a pacing guide that's outdated. It has not been updated since 2022. Some of the stuff is repetitive. Some of it don't even follow the regular schedule that we are in right now, currently in 2025. So you have to know how to improvise and make it work. A lot of times they're going to push a lot of paperwork on you. They're going to give you deadlines. They're going to try to, scare you up and talk all tough and call you out in staff meetings and make you feel like you don't know what you're doing or you ain't doing good enough. But at the same time, you have to know how to not let that get to you, because then you'll find yourself taking it out on your students and putting that same pressure on your students. And right now, the way school is structured, it need to be revised, and it's no fun at all. The whole design of the school just need to be thrown away and changed up. From the way the bathrooms are structured, there's students that's going in the bathroom because they're bored trying to get out of work, and sometimes they vandalize the restroom. I'm being told that I'm supposed to supervise them in the bathroom. Now tell me how I'm supposed to supervise my class, which is maybe 20 to 22 students, and then also go in the restroom and look and watch behind somebody to see if they dropped something on the floor or they threw paper all over the wall. I don't know, but apparently they have something in mind that I may not know. If you know something out there, please share it with me, because my job, I would rather monitor a whole group of people than 1 or 2 kids in the restroom. And I don't want to be accused of anything. I've been keeping my nose clean. I have been doing pretty good with my code of ethics, and I want to keep it that way. Don't let these requirements make you feel like you are not good enough to keep up. Because this is how I see it. If they don't, if the head, the school leader, or however whoever is in charge isn't putting things in the right order and giving the proper training, then they can expect the followers, which are the teachers, to have everything perfectly in place. What else I want to cover before I leave here? Also realize that a lot of your teachers may not, or colleagues may not be available, may not be at work on time. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it pushes me to not even want to be to work on time, because, you know, if I have to be stuck with almost 40 to 60 students by myself, and then when somebody start acting crazy and doing something that don't even make sense, or having behavior issues, and then I'm getting the blame because of the lack of supervision, or I'm not getting enough support with that, you know, I go with the flow. I go with the flow. And that's pretty much what you may have to do. So if you are working for a school district, or maybe a school that have a great leader, and just know everything ain't gonna be perfect, but it's good enough to where everything is organized and flowing pretty well. There's no struggle with funding, because listen, when I got there, I didn't know that I had to kick out more money. I didn't know that I had to buy my own printing paper, because listen, if you're working for a Title I school and there's a lot of low income families, there's, you know, a high rate of reduced lunch or free lunch, then most likely you're not going to have all the supplies you need. So they're going to be rationed out, and you got to really be smart with that. You also should keep in mind, don't take if you have a great staff, you have a supportive staff. I mean, like, very mature, because, you know, I find that we are always hearing about, you know, we need to cooperate and teach the kids how to get along, and teach the kids about, you know, group projects, and knowing how to step in when help is needed. If you're not quite receiving that, you know, as a new teacher coming in, or it don't even really have to be teaching. It can be anywhere. If you're not receiving that support, then you need to find out, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Because I'm going to tell you, the pay, you got to have love for learning and teaching to deal with a lot of the challenges that exist in the school system. So when they're trying to figure out where all the teachers are going, they are trying to find a peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to go home with paperwork and spend hours of grading and being pressured to get grades in at a certain time, and then they count that against whether you get a raise or not. You know, I just really don't feel like that's fair. And I also don't feel like it's fair that the principal and the admin can come in and observe and give you a score and tell you how you need to teach and what you need to improve in, but that's not available for teachers to observe and also have input on how the school can be improved. You know, so with that being said, always love yourself, stay as positive as much as you can. You know, do what you need to do to keep your mental health right, because a lot of times when you are in a classroom with a lot of negative energy, that can be thrown towards your way, and it can be very draining to the point where you don't even want to deal with nobody, not even your colleagues. So just try to stay positive and do what you need to do to make a difference in our society. Happy teaching, and peace out.
So make sure you have a very strong, powerful bladder, because if you're at a school where there's a lot of behavior issues, a lot of the doors will get locked, including the staff bathroom. And a lot of times you may have to be pushed to hold your bladder for almost 3 hours before you get to really release, which could potentially cause issues. I have developed bladder issues, and mainly it kind of started when I had a cesarean with the catheter. But, you know, I healed and recovered pretty well. But since I started back teaching, things have been different. Not to the point where I have to wear Depends, but it's pretty damn close.